I've been reading a lot of Boruto. Now, honestly, Boruto is one of those animes where people's like, yeah, this is a really bad anime. But then when you really look at it, it's just a really great anime, right? I will say Boruto really did have some really good storylines, but overall, at least Boruto 2 Blue Vortex is carrying that shit like normal. You know what I'm saying? Carrying it within the bag, yeah, yada, 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 let's go. Beam, right? Now, there is a really big theory I want to talk about, and I've been always really theorizing about this from the very longest time right there. In Boruto, there's one giant theory I want to talk about, and that is the Rinnegan, right? The Rinnegan is one of my favorite freaking abilities out there. Not because it's the strongest, screw that, but because you can mess with life and death, literally like that. It's literally nothing like the reanimation. While the reanimation is literally just reanimating someone by getting like a dead body. Literally, that's what it is. Of course, the Rinnegan does something like this, but you could still have something where it's just becoming more powerful than the actual owner itself. While literally being reanimated, I'm literally as strong as I was. If you're using as the Rinnegan is literally like, yeah, we're gonna make you as strong as possible. We're good. It's easy as that. Just slap on the Rinnegan, and he now has capabilities like me with his own original capabilities. The end, right? But overall, the Rinnegan, I do have a giant theory that we might see in Boruto, and I do think that the Rinnegan is connected to the Ten Tails. I also think that it's also connected to the god of Otsutsuki's. Now, I actually think that there might be some sort of other Rinnegan out there. I am well aware that is some sort, like it's either a gold Rinnegan or something like that. That's what people are saying. But I also do think it's just one of those Rennegans that is really high level that could probably not only mess with life and death, but could also mess with the universe's state out there. You know what I'm saying? Could probably destroy the universe as we know it. Now, the biggest theory I really have with the Rinnegan is where it came from, right? Now, I generally think in order for you to make a Rinnegan, you have to slap in a bad boy in there. You know what I'm saying? You gotta slap in the Ten Tails right in your eye. And, if you just want to pop, make a Rinnegan or something. You get what I'm saying? Like, just smash, like, here's the thing when it comes to Ten Tails. The Ten Tails, you can practically make it into humans if you want, because it really has no feelings or nothing. It's like an animal that you can morph into something that is like a weapon, right? It's like a moving weapon or a moving robot, right? You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to the, what I'm saying, the Rinnegan could probably also be related somewhere when it comes with, the Ten Tails. I don't think it is related at all when it comes with stuff like, emotions and all these stuff. I do think that the Rinnegan is really related to something with higher power. And the reason why with humans, when it comes with like real big emotions, is because humans, we have emotions in order for us to kind of unlock our true powers. If you guys don't know this is a real thing, by the way. A great example is there is this mother. I remember I was hearing this story. This is a real story that can happen to pretty much any mothers out there if they have if they're in that situation. Pretty much something went wrong, and I'm pretty sure the baby was about to get crushed by a car, and the mom literally just lifted up or something. You know what I'm saying? Literally like normal, moved the baby out, and just boom, there we go. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to literally power, humans' capability is quite literally, us relying a lot of emotions. So when it comes with the Rinnegan, I do think that the Rinnegan, the only reason why it's there is because the power emerges, and if you are strong enough, you have this capability with you, right? Now, overall, I do think that the Rinnegan's power is going to be a little bit powerful than most people might think, like the original Rinnegan. This is why people like, I don't know, what's his name? Y'all gotta, oh my god, I don't know his name. If I was in a live stream, I'd be like, yo guys, what's his name? That one guy that tried to just Pain, there we go, you know what I'm saying? Pain still had limits because it was not his Rinnegan. Also, keep this in mind, Madara, didn't just have limits, but yeah, he also had, even more limits. Not because, like his life and stuff like this, but that's also because the Rinnegan deals with a lot of chakra. So the fact that also Madara could do that, like with that, is crazy. But keep this in mind, when it comes to the Rinnegan, I do think that it holds up a lot of chakra, and I do think it has to do something when it comes with, the entire god part and where it kind of originated from. I also think that the god of Otsutsuki could probably invented stuff like the Ten Tails or other technologies that could have actually invented the Rinnegan. Also, a really big theory is I think that the Rinnegan is technology made. This is gonna sound sound absurd, because if you really think about it, like if you look at stuff like the Byakugan, literally almost every single, or actually every single Otsutsuki is literally born with a Byakugan, right? Which is kind of crazy to think about. So, it could probably be like the next evolution or something. But, I do think that when it comes to the Rinnegan, the biggest theory that I have, it could probably be within some sort of technology eye or something like this. We've seen this with one person, and that person could literally, shapeshift cubes from making it giant to big to small to whatever the hell they want to do. But overall, when it comes with the Rinnegan, I really do generally think that this entire, this entire power is probably going to be originated with something with high power technology or something like this. Another thing is I also have a huge theory that the Rinnegan would also be used literally by anyone who wants to resurrect their entire family, aka that one old guy scientist, which is a very small scientist. But I also really think that when it comes with the Rinnegan, I think there's just more to it, right? I also think that what's her name, Sarada might unlock the Rinnegan and something like that later on. I'm not entirely 100% sure, but I really do think that the Rinnegan has some sort of ability that we probably don't know that could probably destroy, I guess, the universe as we know it. I also have another theory that the Rinnegan's colors also have different abilities and stuff like that, which already kind of happens. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to the Rinnegan's abilities, I do think the colors is specific to one ability. So probably purple could have been like something when it comes to change or like death or something like that. And later on you could probably see someone where having like a gold Rinnegan or something, and that one could probably be having an ability of, I don't know, destroying the universe or something like this. I also think the Rinnegan is a Senjutsu, which is going to be pretty interesting. The reason is because Momoshiki kind of did state that he does know all of Senjutsus, and if you look at his freaking powers, he quite literally has a Rinnegan. So I do think that Momoshiki is kind of, it's kind of the reason why, the Rinnegan could probably be something huge or something like that. I don't know. But overall, when it comes with the Rinnegan, I do think that the Rinnegan is going to be an ability that could probably come and go unlike any other, powers out there. Like, for example, Sarada, right? I do think Sarada is one of those people that will probably unlock the Rinnegan, but only probably unlock it in the point where it could be like, I don't know, life and death situations. You know what I'm saying? I'm not entirely 100% what's going to happen later on. I do have a theory on the red Rinnegan. I think the red Rinnegan is manipulating reality itself. So think of it like, I'm in this room, and then all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, bitches, I'm gonna make you in hell, and then boom, you're all in hell. You know what I'm saying? That's literally the power of the Rinnegan, and that's literally what Kaguya did, right? Quite literally, when they fought against, or Sakura, Sasuke, and all these other people, she literally went, yeah, we're not gonna go there, and then literally sent him in a fiery despot, and after that went to an ice planet or stuff like that. So when it comes to the red one, I do think that this one is probably morphing realities or stuff like this. But overall, when it comes with the actual power of the Rinnegan, I do think that there is one specific power that we have not seen. I also think that the purple one is the weakest one, and I also think that the gold one will be the strongest Rinnegan we'll see, because I think this one really does manipulate power and the universe as we know it. Probably any other universes out there. So it could probably have all of the original Rinnegan powers into one giant power. It's also very important that this godlike guy is a very powerful guy, and you could probably manipulate anything. It's also worth mentioning that he is not in our universe. He is actually in a whole other different universe. So if you really think about it, the Rinnegan, if you literally really think about it, the Rinnegan as we know it is probably one of the most craziest powers out there. I'm not even kidding. But overall, that's pretty much all I gotta say when it comes with the Rinnegan and all of these crazy stuff out there. Now, I will say one last thing also. The Rinnegan is a very interesting ability, right? And like, literally, because we don't know much about it as much as, let's say, the Byakugan or all of these other stuff. So imagine 10, 20, chapters later on, we could probably see another Rinnegan that we probably haven't noticed, or something that could probably originate from Rinnegan into something bigger and better. But again, this is just a theory that the Rinnegan has different abilities for different specific stuff. Maybe this god could also like switch other Rinnegans and stuff like that. Again, this theory has been proven multiple times, but we really haven't seen kind of the true aspect of the Rinnegan. I think this god will eventually, show us it. But anyways, let me know what you think. Other than that, that's pretty much it. And I will see you guys later. But let me know what you think about the Rinnegan, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.